Hi, this is Trinesha Cottrell, and welcome to day 14 of 30 Days of Purpose. So, let me tell you why you don't need to seek approval. Yes, I said it with a little bit of attitude because listen, we spend so much time in our life trying to focus on how we can make someone else happy, how we can do this thing for somebody else, how we can make this person, feel appreciative of what it is that we do and who we are. And sometimes we forget whose we are and who we are. If you remember who and whose you are everything that you need to be. I have this story for you. So I always do a story, but I really, back in the day, always used to try to seek approval from everyone. I was so different when I was coming up. I would be in school and I would be like, I don't want to say geeky because I was smart, but I didn't know I was smart. And then I would always make like excuses for why I need to do the wrong thing. Or I would be around friends and they would be doing something that I knew wasn't right. And the moment I try to do it, I end up in trouble or I end up getting caught up or whatever else. So it was never like that was never the type of life that I was ever going to live. you know? Like you the type of person who God always purposed you for something and he knew he was going to use you in the future. So when you try to do the same thing that other people did that was wrong, like it never worked out for you. Like my internal like guide or whatever you want to call it would always be signaling this is wrong. You can't do this. Like it would make me feel so badly. I would feel so much guilt. I would feel so much like I don't want to say shame, but I would just feel horrible about whatever decision it was that I was making and I could never get away with it. It wasn't me. And it's so funny because I met this guy a long time ago. It's probably been about a good I don't want to say 15 years. I don't know. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. But I met this guy a long time ago and we were all hanging out. It was like a group of friends. We were all hanging out and something happened that was not a good thing. Like they were it was a situation that I should have never been in the first place. I was in this place that it looked like I wasn't even supposed to be hanging out there. People were there that I shouldn't even been hanging out with, or in a place that I shouldn't have never been in the first place. And I'm sitting there trying to fit in. I'm not into any of the things that any of the people are doing, but I'm sitting there trying to just. I felt like I really didn't want to be different than anybody else, so I wanted to just fit in. And so I'm sitting there and as I'm sitting there, they give me something. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna take this thing because I want to be cool. It wasn't anything like that. It was just something I don't want to go too much into detail and give it away. But I had something that I was holding and or that was in my possession. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was trying to be cool about it. I really felt super uncomfortable. And the guy who was like one of the coolest people that I've ever met in my life, he's like, nah. He's like, that ain't you. That is not you. And I was like, what? Like, cause I felt uncomfortable anyways, but I was trying to like really play it like I was good. And he was like, no, that's not you. And I said, oh wow. Like it's different when you know that it's wrong and you don't want to be there, but when another person who is like not bad to the bone, but somebody who like is not in a good situation, who kind of is like a bad guy kind of, and he looks at you and tells you you don't belong there, it's like, dang, like I really don't belong here. But I was trying so hard to fit in and seek approval that I didn't realize that I was putting myself in a situation that I would have never been in. Like I was never supposed to be there in the first place. I was so busy trying to prove to somebody else that I could be something else besides what God told me that I was. And back then I wasn't really following God. I was just doing what I wanted to do. And it really wasn't beneficial. Every decision I made in my life that was about me seeking approval from someone else besides God never worked out. Every single thing that I try to do on my own, every place that I worked, every guy that I dated, every single thing that I tried to do on my own never worked out because God wasn't in it. And it's so funny how we can spend so much time trying to seek everyone else's approval, trying to be this for that person, trying to do this for that person, trying to be everything else but who we are, when the whole time people would accept you more for being who you are. And it's not even just about people accepting you. I've gotten to the point in my life in 30 some years, and I have really, I don't know why I did it like that. It's such a blessing to be whatever age I am. So I'm not ashamed. I'm just saying. Yeah, but I just, I really noticed that it really doesn't matter whose approval I get, because people's opinion is always going to change about me. Someone is always going to have something to say. They're always going to want me to change this or do this way or be this type of person. And they could be happy with me one minute and unhappy with me the next. I have to just make sure that I'm happy with myself. I'm trying to make sure that I'm the type of person that when I look in the mirror, I'm pleased with the person that I see. I'm not trying to be anybody else. I can't be Sam. I can't be Jill. I can't be Tiffany. I can't be anybody but Trinesha. That's the only person that God made me to be. So me trying to front, trying to pretend like I can be and do all of these things that I know I have no business doing is not, it's not benefiting me. It definitely doesn't look good on me. But you know what does look good on me? God. When I'm walking the way that I should in my purpose, when I'm reading my Bible, when I'm spending time with God, when I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing, that's when I really truly feel me. I don't feel like I'm trying to be anybody else. I don't feel like I'm trying to seek anyone else's approval now, just God's. And only God's. Let me put it that way. Not say just, because we know God is like, whoo, you know. But yeah, I'm just only seeking God's approval. I don't need anybody else's approval. Earlier today, I'm gonna be real with you and tell a real story and be transparent, because not a lot of people would do it, but I don't care about doing it because it might help somebody. So I was online earlier and I noticed that I lost like 3 followers or something. And at first I was like, oh wow, I was hoping to get to like a certain number because I was trying to grow the following so that I could, do more things and reach more people and help more people. And then God placed on my heart immediately, like, remember, is this to make your name great or mine? If you're not at a certain number, does it really matter? The people who are supposed to hear you, the people who are supposed to hear the message are going to hear it. The person who needs to hear that they don't need to seek approval will be on this video. They will watch the live afterwards. They will eventually see it. I don't know who it's going to benefit, but it's going to benefit someone. And that's all that matters. Even if I only had 1 follower, and that was the one person that God purposed to be able to hear the video, to know that they're not alone, I'm doing everything God told me to do. I don't need 100,000 people. I don't need 1,000,000 people following me. I just need God, and I just need to be myself. I don't need to be seeking approval from anyone else. And it really gave me like this peace. It really made me feel like, okay, I mean, it's true. I don't need anyone else's approval. I just need to be me. There's no one else that I could be better at than being me. I got a piece of hair that's like tickling the inside of my ear. Sorry. I had to do that on camera, but it was like, it happens all the time. It used to be the one back here, but I straightened and I did a bunch of stuff, and I got this scarf over, so I didn't end up putting the hair in like I usually do. But but yeah, I really just focused on God. Everything that I'm doing in my life, if God is pleased with it, if God is allowing me to do whatever it is that I need to do, then I'm doing everything I need to do. And it's also helped me in relationships. God's been blessing me like completely. I I met this person and they seem like a decent person and everything, and something happened and it was kind of like a check moment, like, oh yeah, I'm not okay with this, but it wasn't like a deal breaker. And then something else happened and it was like a deal breaker. And I was like, oh, that's unfortunate. But I noticed that the more people I meet, the more that I'm standing my ground, the more that I'm not seeking approval. Like I could have easily been like trying to please this guy, like, oh, pick me. I have to be perfect. You have to learn more about me because you just don't know me. So like I could have went all out of the way, did the most to try to get this guy's attention to make him see me for who I am, as if I could change his mind. Like me being, and I hate to use the word desperate, but I don't know any other word to use in this place. Like me being desperate for this guy's attention wasn't helping me. Every time I bended to a guy's will, it made me feel more insecure. Every time I was seeking some guy's approval, it always made me feel more insecure. Every time I try to prove that I am who God already said I am, it always makes me feel more insecure. And now, as I've been growing in my life, as I've been becoming a better person, as I've been following God, I've been only seeking God's approval. And I learned from last year with the one guy that I really liked what I need to do. Like I know there's certain things that I'm not okay with, and I can't just pretend like that I'm okay with them. I know there's something that I want. There's things that I want in my life, and I can't just pretend like I'm okay with not receiving those things because I deserve everything that God has for me. I cannot. It doesn't matter how fine, how nice, how whatever the guy is. If he is not doing what it is that he needs to be doing, I can't spend my life, my time trying to convince someone that I am who I am. I cannot spend my life trying to prove something to somebody who is not grace for me, someone who is not going to be a part of my life. And in this season, I've been noticing that God has been strengthening me in areas where I thought I was weak. Like I thought that I would always try to show someone, like prove that I am who I am. I thought I would always be the person who would go out of the way to like rectify the situation because I didn't want it to be bad blood. Listen, my mental health is the most important thing. I cannot, I'm not trying to like be mean or spiteful or, turn it into a whole thing. Nothing like that. It's no ill will over here at all. I'm on Peace Street. I don't have no time for that. I really just have been taking a moment to really just reflect and take care of my own mental health. If somebody doesn't call me, oh well. Like, yes, it sucks. The person didn't call me, but no, I'm not about to just go all out the way and do the most for no reason. Like, if the person wants me, they know where I am. If like back in the day, they didn't even have cell phones or anything, and the guy was like, he'll find out where you live from the yellow pages. Y'all don't know what that is, but but back in like I don't want to say my grandma's day because I don't want relationships like that. I just want what God has grace for me. And I feel like if somebody wants you, they'll do what it takes to get you. You don't have to try to prove that you are who God created you to be. You don't have to try to seek approval from them because they could change their mind like everybody else. You don't have to try to pretend to be anything else but who God created you to be. You don't have to worry about doing the most. You don't have to do nothing. Like, it's so reassuring to me that God placed on my heart that I don't have to be anything but me. Either the person likes me or they don't. Like, it's not my responsibility to prove to someone that I'm a good person. I know I'm a good person. I try to be a good person. Let me put it that way because I'm not an angel, but I really do try to do the right thing. So, and also, if someone doesn't call me, if they don't text me, if they don't, date me, whatever it is that the people are doing nowadays, it doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm seeking God's approval. What matters is that I'm being the best version of myself. What matters is that I respect and honor myself. Let me tell you something. This blessed me so much, and I hope every single woman and man does this in their life. every time you bend to somebody else's will, it will make you more insecure. The reason why I can be confident, the reason why I have so much peace in my life, the reason why I have joy unspeakable is because of God. The reason why I'm unbothered by a lot of stuff that used to bother me in the past is because I literally know that I got God. Not only that, but I'm not willing to compromise my integrity for a man. I'm not willing to dishonor myself just to prove to someone else that I'm something that I'm not. I'm unwilling to settle in this season for anything less than God's best for me. And I would talk a good game in the past, and I really intended to be this person that I am today in the past. But now I can see me actually acting the way that I am speaking. Like, I was talking to one person, and they try to do the, oh, I'm going to call you at this time, or I'm going to call you tomorrow thing, and they did not call. So when they did call, I was like, you know, you didn't call yesterday. I mean, I didn't say it like that, but we were just having like they called and I said, hey. And they said, oh, hey, what's up? And they tried to have a normal conversation. It's like, no, we're not doing that. We're not going to just skip over the fact that you didn't call yesterday. Like, you didn't call yesterday. Oh, I thought you weren't, most women just, nah, see. No. Mm-mm. I mean, I didn't do all of that. I was like really calm and, I handled it really well. I was so proud of myself because I could have handled it totally different. But I was like, yeah, you didn't call yesterday when you said that you were going to call. And they were like, oh, I thought you were just going to accept it because most women just, never say anything about it and they just kind of let me do it. I didn't expect him to say that, but he did. And I was like, no, I said, because, and hopefully this doesn't like give other people clues in the future to try to DM me or whatever. But listen, if they do, God's, protection is all over me. So I'm praying that he protects me from any person that's not supposed to be a part of my life because I don't need that. So, and then when I tell these stories, I can just laugh at myself because I'm like, oh my gosh, I really said this or did that. But yeah. So, so I was like, no, like I wasn't just going to be accepting of that because when you say you're going to do something, you don't do it, that's saying that you're not a man of your word. And that's super important to me. I don't want to, be counting on the person that I'm talking to or, like I end up getting in a relationship with you or something and then or we start dating or whatever. Like I don't want to date someone who's not a person of their word. I don't even want to date somebody. I don't even want to talk to somebody that's not a person of their word. If you say you're going to do something, I definitely expect you to do what you say you're going to do, to be about that action. Because it's just, for me, after all the pain that I went through in the past, after all the healing that I've done, I can't go back to another situation. Like words are great. And, words really are powerful and meaningful and everything else. But it's something about being about that action. You know what I'm saying? It's like, whew. It's like, okay. It's really like a whole nother thing. And so if you're not about action, then that means that you're a liar. And I'm not calling this guy a liar. I'm just saying that if you say you're going to do something and you don't, you're technically lying about saying that you're going to do something that you're not. Then how can I count on you in the future if that's the type of person that you are? Are you the type of person who says what it is that you mean and you back it up with action? Or are you the type of person who just says a bunch of things and never does anything about it? And I just can't imagine living that type of life. I don't want to be with somebody that's like that. If I say I'm going to do something and I'm going to be there and I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do, I expect the other person to do the same thing. You might say, oh, that's too much. I'm being a lot, whatever else. Listen, you don't have to live with the consequences of that. And I don't have to live with it either. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not living with that. So that's just not the type of life I want to live. I want to be in a peaceful relationship. I know we're not going to agree on everything. I know things are going to happen. I know it's not going to be just black and white, because we're going to definitely need to seek God to reconcile the situation and everything else. But I definitely want the person who I'm dating, who I'm talking to, who I'm with, my kingdom spouse, I definitely want him to be about action. I do not want him to just say something. Like, imagine if you have kids in the future. I know this is like so far gone, like, so like it was already bad enough when you're dating and this happens. But imagine you got a kid in the future with this person, and they say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to pick them up from soccer practice." And then you're doing something else thinking that they got it. And next thing you know, the school calls you and they're like, "Your son wasn't picked up from practice." And you call the person, they're like, "Oh yeah, I was gonna go pick him up, but I had to go do something else." They said they were gonna do it, and they didn't back up their actions. Now your kid is sitting there at soccer practice waiting around for somebody that's not gonna show up. Well, you gonna show up to pick them up, but you know what I mean. Like, it's just it just became a whole nother issue. Like, it's that times 10. Like, that's the worst thing ever, to see your kid disappointed while all the other kids got picked up, and then that kid is the one that's left over because you picked a guy who wasn't a man of his word. It's just it's like, yeah, to me that's how it feels. You might say I'm over exaggerating, you might say it's too much. Listen, but for the right one, it's not gonna be too much. The right person who God has grace for me is gonna be willing to do that, because they're gonna feel like I'm worth it. They're gonna know that God told them that I'm their wife, and they will be willing to do that because they will see my worth and my value. They will know how valuable of a person I really am. I don't have time to prove to anybody else that I am who I am. I don't have time to pretend like I'm okay with anything that bothers me. If I'm uncomfortable, if I feel a certain type of way, I'm not okay with it. I'm good being by myself. But it's by the grace of God that the man who he has for me is going to get through, because he going to really, God's going to let me know. And he will lead us where we need to be so we can meet, and whatever else needs to happen in the background before the everything else. But that person will truly let me be myself and accept me for who I am. That person will say they're going to do something, they will really back it up with action. That person is going to be all the things that I need. Some things I didn't even consider, because God knows exactly what I would need, because he knows every hair on my head. And same for that person. I'm going to be everything that person needs. It's moments like, and I have to be real when I say this, because yes, I made the decision, but it was in the background of my mind, like the adversary was trying to tell me, "Oh, well, you're going to do this and push this person away." I'm like, if that pushes that person away, that person's not supposed to be a part of my life. If I'm not okay with this, I'm not okay with it. And I'm content in knowing that. And God got me the rest of the way. I don't have to do anything else. I don't. I'm not trying to be anybody else but me. And that's good enough. I'm not trying to chase after some man that doesn't want me. Like, if you don't want me, that's not my problem. It's not. That you have your own, like, you have a choice to make. If you choose that you don't want to be with me, that's fine. That's your personal opinion, and you have every right to your own opinion and what it is that you want and don't want for your life. I have every choice in my life. I have the right in my life to make a decision to say that this is what I am and what I'm not okay with. And it's not about having a long list of things. It's about integrity. It's about values. It's about someone really being who they say they are. It's about really, it's about integrity. It's about your values. It's about your morals. It's about ethically who you are. I don't want someone who is just anybody. I'm not looking for anybody. I'm looking for somebody that God graced for me. And I don't know if that makes sense to anybody else, but I'm not willing to bend to compromise just to be with somebody, because I don't want to be with just anybody. I don't. So, I mean, people can look at it and be like, "Oh, you've been single 2.5 years." Yes, 2.5 years of peace. No, let me stop. I really gotta stop because listen, God, I really do want to be blessed with the kingdom spouse. And when that person comes into my life, it will be a blessing to be with that person. I'm not saying I'm going to like be like, oh no, I want to be single. No, I need a man and I do desire to be in a relationship. That's real. I am not trying to be with anybody that God didn't grace for me and any person that doesn't see my value. It's not my job to prove to somebody that I'm valuable. It's my job to know that I'm valuable. I heard a quote one time that really blessed my life, and it said, we spend so much time worrying about the person that doesn't see our value. Do not let yourself be one of them. When I heard that, it was like a whole word. Like you don't even I felt the Holy Spirit. No, let me stop. I'm just No, but it was seriously like a whole word. I was like, "Oh my gosh." Like that's so true. You do not want to be one of them. It's going to be a lot of people that try to tell you who they think they want you to be. It is. Everybody's going to have an opinion about you. Everybody's going to want you to be something else, to do something else, everything. Like people really people will really be trying to do that. And it is your job to remember who you are. It's your job to remember whose you are. It's your job to remember that God has better for you. God did not intend for you to settle in your life for anything less than his best. God didn't intend for you to have to put up with a whole bunch of foolishness from any person in your life, any job, anything. Now, I'm not saying you just leave your job just because you had a disagreement with one person. You make sure you check with God on everything so that he can give you discernment so you can make the best decisions in God's favor. You want to make sure that you're doing things that are beneficial for your life, that are, you know, actually glorifying the kingdom. That's what I'm trying to do in my life. I was so proud of myself. At first, like the adversary was going to say, but you didn't say this. And I was like, listen, I already did more than I usually do in the past. I'm patting myself on. I literally was so corny. I was so corny because I was sitting there like this, patting myself on the back. Then I want to give myself a round of applause. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I do corny stuff like that all the time, but that's who I am. So listen, you either get with it or not. It is what it is. It is what it is. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So that's what I do. So if you made it this far to 20, almost 28 minutes, and you're done seeking approval, put I'ma be me in the comments. Be you. No, I don't know if you should say be you. Definitely put I'm not seeking approval in the comments because today is the last day that you seek approval from anybody. You don't need approval from, and when I say this, I don't want to step on any toes, but you don't need approval from your parents. You are done trying to prove to be somebody else that your parents want you to be. Of course, your parents want what's best for you. And I'm not saying you should disrespect them or disregard their feelings or emotions or them wanting to do something, wanting you to do more in your life. Definitely appreciate their opinion and listen to their advice and everything else. But you being someone totally different that is not of God, that is not sitting right in your spirit, is definitely not benefiting the kingdom. You trying to be something else for somebody else who will never see your value, it's not benefiting the kingdom. It's not benefiting you. You trying to be anybody else but you is doing a disservice to the other person, and it's doing a disservice to you, and it's doing a disservice to God, because God created you uniquely to be who you are, not for you to be anybody else. So stop seeking approval. This is the last day that you seek approval from anyone else. You know what your morals are, what your values are, what you desire. And God knows your heart. You don't have to try to prove anything to anybody else. Just be the best version of you, and everything will be fine. So let me go ahead and reiterate. So the Facebook Lives are over. They're not over, but I will not be on there unless I hop on randomly. I will be here every night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to see more videos like this, then definitely come watch the video. And if you missed the other video, there's one that a lot of people who I know of have been like sharing the video or like clips of the video. They've been like snipping it and clipping it and send it to people in the community that I know. And it's why limits matter. And they were like, "Oh my gosh, this is so good. I really like this." So definitely go back and watch that video. Again, post down below, "I'm done seeking approval. I'm not seeking approval," in the comments, because this is the last day. You don't need anybody's approval but God. If you're being the best version of yourself and you're seeking Him, you're doing everything that you need to do. You don't have to try to prove to a guy that you meet, that you date, a woman that you date, that you meet, that you are a good man. If you're a good man, be a good man. The good woman is going, God is going to make sure that you get the good woman. Just like us. If you're a if you're a good woman, God is going to make sure that that man finds you. He knows your address. You don't have to try to show God where you are on the map. He put you in that location. You good. So just be patient and focus on God. Enjoy the season that you're in. Maximize the season that you're in, and really just appreciate where you are in your life. Every single moment. Pun intended. Every single moment. But even when you're in a marriage, like, don't get the grass is greener syndrome. Really appreciate where you are in your life. Single, married, in between, whatever it is that you're doing, make sure that you appreciate everything that God has blessed you with so that He can give you more. Because God is the type of God who wants to bless you with so much. But we're the ones that stifle our blessings. We're the ones that get our prayers to be unanswered. Because when you are unappreciative, God is not willing to bless you with more. He's only going to bless you with something that you've already done something with. Like, more if you've done something with the things that He's already given you. So definitely just focus on being grateful for your life and stop seeking approval. You don't need nobody's approval but God.